Master your money, free your future. Welcome to Budget for Life. My name is Jeremy. I am a financial advisor, but this channel is not financial advice. This channel is for your education, for your entertainment. It's a place for level-headed analysis of company fundamentals, business performance, valuations, risk analysis, maybe a little bit of personal finance every now and then. If you appreciate it, we'll love a like, comment, sub, all the above. And thank you to those who have. Thank you to the viewers, over 30,000 views just this month. And to the subscribers, holding strong, over 1,500 of you guys. Thank you so much. And revenue, we have made $173 on this channel. I haven't made it yet. Okay, I'll tell you when I do. I think it will hit my bank account in late October. But 100% of the earnings from this channel go to DRS booked GME shares, and I will keep y'all updated, show you that when I get paid, and we're going to build our own Budget for Life infinity pool together. So thank you guys for engaging. Anytime that you do, it not only helps educate yourself, it also helps the message get out there. Others are able to become educated themselves on the fundamentals of all sorts of companies, but right now we're really focusing on GameStop because it's at such a unique stage in its story. And you're helping the company through the infinity pool. You're helping me as I externally process. So I appreciate it all. Thank you also to those who join the channel as friends or as fans. Thank you guys so much. So in this video, I want to talk about GameStop software sales because I did a video projecting their Q3 sales, and I ended up with a $225 million figure. Could surprise to the upside, maybe even up to 275. But here's the thing, guys. One of the kind of remarks I made towards the end, why did I go with 225 instead of maybe 250? Which I'll revise these. I'll kind of revisit them before the numbers actually come out. But I said, does GameStop really even care about this software business? Does GameStop even care? Because the trend has been down every year for 7 years now, as far as software revenue and software as a percentage of their total revenue. And I don't think GameStop's necessarily betting on a total inversion from the trend towards video games being sold digitally. But I was like, I wonder if there's anything they've done or said that would help me answer that question. Do they care? Do they care about the software business? And I think yes, they do. So I mean, I scrolled through just even their Twitter feed from this whole year, and it's all over the place. I just pulled a couple of them, but said of them talking about, hey, GameStop's rumored to be selling video games in exchange for money, and they say, who leaked this? They talk about the discs, right? Just, hey, how cool is it to have a disc? It's almost like a piece of art, right? They did this whole bit on how you can't trade in digital games, right? And this one was just a couple days ago, yesterday. This came out, this post literally happened since I made my software projections. Say, new photos reveal GameStop still sells video games in stores today. They say breaking news. And there's plenty more throughout their feed, but I realized, man, they definitely care. And I wanted to think about like as we project, not just one quarter out, but as you think about what's the future of this line item for GameStop into 2026 and 27 and 28, right? All the way out here. I don't think it is accurate to say or to project an eventual phasing out to zero of the software business. I think the software business is here to stay. And I want to share a couple reasons why as I was thinking about GameStop's software business and what are some kind of tailwinds, some reasons to believe that maybe, I mean, it could have already bottomed out. I mean, this might be the floor, and you might start seeing year over year software growth. I think that's totally in the cards, and I'll tell you why. But I think at the very least, projecting a long-term stabilizing of the software business is totally justified. And at that point, maybe you don't give it a huge multiple, but you could say, okay, here's what they're going to make in revenue. Here's going to be their margin. And so here's that annualized cash flow, and you can put a multiple on that. As long as you know it's not declining to zero, if you know it's going to stay steady or maybe even begin to grow again, you can start to value that business line. And I want to give you a few reasons why I think you can value GameStop's software business further out, why their sales are not going to go away. And this is the biggest one, I think, which is that PSA is now officially grading video games. This, this company called Wata has long been a part of the PSA family, but they are just now becoming PSA. So PSA bought this video games grading company in 2021, and they're waiting until now, just now, with all this grading hype, right? With, just graded cards going through the roof, lines out the door, right? Everything's blowing up in this whole universe of graded cards. And PSA is the brand card grader. So for them now to say, we are ready to put our brand on What a Games, we're ready to put our brand on the video games grading business, to me, is really bullish as far as what's the long-term valuation for GameStop's software business. Because what this tells you is that PSA feels like graded video games are ready for the big leagues. And if graded video games become more than just this super, super, super tiny niche, but actually a more legitimized business, then all of a sudden, physical games become appreciating assets. They become collectibles and artwork in and of themselves. And for PSA to put their name on it, it's basically them saying, yeah, we think that's going to happen, right? They could start grading all sorts of things to be, hey, this is the next line item that we're going to start grading. Because obviously they grade cards, but for them to say, hey, graded video games, we think has a lot of potential. We're going to put our name on it. All of a sudden, like that in and of itself is enough to think that video game sales actually invert. They actually not flip to be majority physical necessarily, but in a sense that we've bottomed out at what percentage of sales are digital or what percentage of sales are physical versus digital, where it's been 9 to 1, 10 to 1. It might get back to 3 to 7, 4 to 6. If graded video games begin to literally appreciate in value, everyone in their right mind, if they're buying a video game, not everyone, but a lot of people would rather than be physical. Because one day, whatever, when you're done grading, done playing it, you could still get it graded. Obviously, to get the highest grading scores, you would probably need to never play it. But even that is totally fine. Like GameStop doesn't make money when you play the video game. They make money when you buy the video game from them. And they make money when you use them to get your games graded. I'm sure this partnership will end up involving GameStop, to where if you want to submit video games to be graded to PSA, that the cheapest way to do that will be through GameStop. I'm sure that's a part of this arrangement as well. And so what's the demand for physical games, right? How many people are going to want to buy a physical copy of Pokemon Legends Z to A that comes out in October, not just to play it for themselves, but to immediately ship it and get it graded and see what they like. You think scalpers were bad in 2024? In 2023? Imagine people scalping, immediately getting it graded, and then flipping it, right? What is the appreciation at that point? What's the demand at that point? It could be booming. It could be booming. But even if it's not, like, I'm not saying as you're projecting GameStop software, I'm not saying you should start projecting year over year 30% plus sales growth into perpetuity, but we'll see over time what the impact of this is. And it could get there. It really could get there. The craze that has taken over graded cards could absolutely bleed into setting a floor and now inverting towards a growth curve as it relates to the demand for physical video games. So grading, that's one reason why, at the very least, GameStop software business is not going away. Another reason is value retention. So you saw a post from GameStop that they shared in August. This meme, pay $60 for a digital game, but it's just a license, which means you can't share the game and you can't sell the game. So we talked about grading could turn video games into an appreciating asset. But at the very least, when you buy a physical game, you increase the salvage value, the retention value of your asset. A digital game, as GameStop saying in this tweet, like you can't resell the digital game, you can sell the physical game. So, someone, joked down here, buys a game for $80, sells it to GameStop for $5. And I'm going to make a video soon talking about how GameStop is transforming its brand and really reviving its brand because this has been the GameStop meme forever, right? Like, look at this comment down here. This person on August 24th, which is my birthday, by the way, be GameStop, adopt used game store concept, create a chain that kills off the mom and pop used game store. Once you're the only game in town, complain about digital taking your business, go bankrupt. Like this this is where the public's mind is at as it relates to GameStop. And it's crazy to think about how little people know about where the business is at fundamentally right now. But also, I want to talk about the reality, which is that GameStop's brand got severely damaged over the years through several reasons. And I want to break down for you the reasons how they are really pivoting that. But physical games, they're not going to go away completely because they do retain some value. And the second point that GameStop makes in that tweet or that post, whatever, is that they're playable, right? The server can't shut down and leave you with nothing left to play, which obviously that doesn't happen frequently, but it's happened before. It could happen again. And it's another reason why GameStop software sales are not going to go away is that some people like the security, the assurance that I have this game, I can see it, I can see the disc, and I will be able to play this game. Whenever I want to play it, I will be able to play it. Another reason that we already talked about is that GameStop cares about its software business. We see that through their activity, how much they talk about it. Obviously, we see it in their financials, right? They literally do make hundreds of millions of dollars every year on their software business. So they value it at least that much, right? Um, oh, I need to go to the tab over here. But also, it began their trade-in model. So again, GameStop makes money when you buy the game from them. They will make money when you get the game graded from them. They will also make money when you sell the game back to them through their trade-in model, and then they will make money again when they sell the game again to the next person. So the trade-in model of GameStop, again, it gets a lot of internet trolls talking about it, but genuinely, it is a unique value proposition that GameStop brings, and they make a ton, right? If there's 10 million copies of this video game out there in the world, like GameStop has the opportunity to sell 10 million games 50 million times, right? Which obviously that math is ridiculous, but every video game sale is the opportunity for that to also come back to them again down the road and be sold again. And you're not going to see that within its competition. Like if you buy a physical game from any other retailer, like you don't have the opportunity to trade it in with them down the road, which is another reason why their software sales are not going to go away. Because even if you buy your game from a Walmart or Target or Best Buy, you're not going to trade it in at Walmart, Best Buy, or Target. Like GameStop, if they can't sell it to you the first time, they'll sell it to you the second time, right? It is the video game resale destination, and they value that resale model. Awesome margins on the resale, and just entrenched in physical retail. A couple other reasons why their software sales are not going away. So their pro membership. Obviously, this impacts every one of GameStop's line items. Everything they sell, you have the opportunity to get it cheaper at GameStop than anywhere else when you are a pro, and they have millions and millions and millions of pros. And so, simply put, you can save money, hypothetically, buying your video game from GameStop than buying it somewhere else. And the, the video game business is not going to vanish because they can deliver the video game to you at a cheaper price, right? I know some on the bear side of this coin, there are some video game makers that, hey, if you want the game physical, it actually costs more than buying the game digital. So that would be a counter argument as far as saving money. But at the very least, the pros would, like for like, if someone wanted to buy a physical game, you would be able to acquire that at a cheaper price from GameStop than from any other place that's selling a physical game. And so there's still some uh, value proposition there, even if the physical game is more expensive than the digital counterpart. Brand loyalty. Again, we'll talk about this in that video I referenced, but genuinely, there are people who would rather buy from GameStop than somewhere else, and who would rather buy the thing that GameStop would most want them to buy than whatever else. This is obviously the minority. This isn't the majority of people, but the brand loyalty of GameStop, as we'll talk about soon, is in a really incredible trajectory. Right now, I would say this is not a huge factor supporting GameStop software sales, but a year from now, it could very well be a huge factor supporting GameStop software sales. And the other thing is just convenience. So this is related to GameStop closing stores. The fewer stores they have, the better their product mix per store. And you might be going to the store. So convenience is, you might think, well, it's totally less convenient to buy a physical game, right? It's way more convenient to buy it in the marketplace with the console that you're using. That's true. Totally true. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying, what if you weren't planning on buying the game? What if you weren't just scrolling like, oh, what games are available for sale on my console? What if you were going to get your card graded? What if you were going for the midnight release of X game or X booster, or this live event that GameStop's doing? What if you just happened to be in a GameStop and then you see a game on the wall, whether it's a resold game or a new game, and you think to yourself, I don't mind if I do, right? The fewer stores that GameStop has, while simultaneously the more that their hardware and especially their collectibles businesses grow, the more and more you are going to see efficiency within their software business. There's going to be better games, better displayed, the fewer stores that they have, and there's going to be more foot traffic per store, the more stores that they have, which means that the inventory of those stores is going to get turned over faster. It's super crusty to go into a store and be like, oh, wow, everything's the same from when I was here last month. Like, ooh, it's really that tough out here, huh? You know, but the more people that are in the store, the more purchases are going to happen within that store, the faster the inventory is going to churn. So then the next time someone comes in, they might think if I really want this, I might need to get it now. It might not be here in 2 weeks, the next payday, whatever. Also, it's just better for the vibes. When you walk into a store and you're the only one there, it's like, ooh, ghost town. Like, okay, I feel a little awkward. Like, I'm not really trying to be like friends with the cashier dude right now. I'm like, just leave me alone, right? And GameStop stores are small, so it's easy for that awkward effect to happen. When there are multiple people in the store, assuming you don't have a super long line, right? Assuming checkout can still be a pretty seamless experience. It's a better store experience to be like, okay, this is popping. I'm not the only one that still shops at GameStop, right? There's more happening. So again, this one you will see over time more than immediately. All of these are over time. I'm not saying that the grading is going to this quarter blow up GameStop software sales. But I'm saying is you are projecting GameStop's software business into perpetuity. I think projecting at the very least flat and probably with a modest to maybe actually, depending how the grading takes, maybe actually a moderately aggressive sales growth from the humble place that they've been, um, that they've declined to. But still, if they make 750 million or 800 or 900 million dollars or $1 billion in 2025 on software, okay, well if that's the floor and now we're going to grow at X% every year after that, that's super meaningful for the business. So I wanted to kind of follow up my software video, add a little bit of that perspective on why fundamentally GameStop software sales are not going away. And then I also wanted to make mention of one more thing in this video, which is Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 is coming in GameStop's Q3. So when I was projecting their Q3 sales, I was really focused on Borderlands and Pokemon Z to A. But there's also this Super Mario Galaxy game, and part of me is just thinking like 225 might be a little. It's not ultra conservative. I'd say it's probably more aggressive than what most people would project it. But I'm gonna go ahead and bump this up to 235, and I will wait until we hit November so that GameStop's Q3 is done before assessing if I want to tack on a few more $1 million in software revenue there. Obviously, I'm not putting the percentages here until we project the hardware and collectibles as well. Some super awesome videos coming soon talking about that. But um, that's all for this one. If you appreciated this video, let me know. Leave a comment, leave a like. Got any questions, let me know. Thank you guys so much for your support. I appreciate it a lot. I'm excited to continue to bring you guys fundamental analysis on this company and one day maybe more companies as well. At the very least, we're going to do some GameStop versus other companies, kind of comparing different reasons why you might invest in one versus the other. Also got some price targets videos coming soon. A lot to look forward to. That said, thank you so much for being here. I will see you guys in the next one.